Hello, everyone. How's it going? I'm Marcos Villegas. This is the Fight Up TV live chat. Welcome, one. Welcome, all. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today on a not a Monday, on a Tuesday. It goes up on a Tuesday. Sorry about that, guys.
Yep.
I'll be honest. Been watching these Euro 2020 games. Yesterday, I took the day off. It was just it messed up my whole entire day. To get prepared for the show. So next week we will be back at the same time. But today, a very special Tuesday. So thank you all for tuning in with us. We have already a good amount of you in here already. Marcus, my man, joining us right now. How's it going, Marcus? How was your weekend?
Weekend was great, man. Great fights, great friends, great family, man. Just things feel good. I'm happy. Couldn't be better.
We're going to get into the fights because, I think the question that I posed in the title of this live chat has a few people kind of irked, and rightfully so. I think, I've been reading through the comments. They bring in valid points, and I think a part of it does highlight some of the things that are wrong with the sport, but also, as well, I think they're following a plan. The people that manage Tank, a plan that's worked for Floyd, a plan that's worked for their other fighters, something that other promoters have done as well. So, I could see the other side. But before we get to that, just want to go ahead and tell everybody, please like, share, and subscribe if this is the first time you guys are joining us. I think we're going to do something a little bit different, Marcus. I think we're going to get to the comments first, and then we'll go ahead and give our takes on everything. But let me go ahead and put some of your comments on here already. Usually we reserve this for a little bit later in the show because me and Marcus sound off on
I like it, bro. Let's do it.
Topics, but let's go ahead and dive in. So if you guys want your comments read right now, go ahead and put your comments. We'll try to answer them as quickly as we can. Octavio Dominguez, at least undisputed at 130. He wouldn't have been pound for pound 2 years ago and undisputed last year. Is the 130? Does PBC have all the champions at 130? I'm not too sure about that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Oh, Shakur's is Shakur champion at 130?
Yes.
Okay, so definitely not undisputed then, because I wouldn't see them trying to make a fight with the top-ranked guy unless there's huge money, and I don't think Shakur at the very least is at that level yet. Tank, we haven't seen the pay-per-view numbers, but I would imagine it's the second time pay-per-view. Little by little he's climbing up. Rarely do you headline a pay-per-view and you get huge numbers right away. I think Jake Paul is someone who has skewed that, but he already had a huge name coming in. Dio, title is facts, and the title of this is, with what Floyd said, Gervonta Davis only fighting PBC fighters for the foreseeable future. Is that something that turns boxing fans away? Like mentioned, Marcus, I'm going to get your take on this, but let's go ahead and get some of these comments. And Kevin Morales, what's up, man? Thank you for the comment. Sad to see Tank in a situation like Terrence Crawford. He can't get big fights because Floyd is stopping him, but hopefully Tank gets out before it's too late. I highly doubt Tank's going to leave PBC.
No.
It's like, say what you want. Say what you want. Say what you want. Like, well, no, not even that. Say what you want, like the criticism on that with what they're doing. They're still the best paid side in boxing. So, like, why are you going to leave an employer that pays you the most? Like, it doesn't make any sense. All fighters strive to be the best they can be. Undefeated is a highly coveted distinction only held by the best fighters. That's not true, man. Sugar Ray Leonard lost. Hagler had a loss, and he was considered, one of the best.
Absolutely. You only can name one fighter. You can only name a handful of guys that retired undefeated. I won't say one, but you can name a handful of guys, and take out people dying untimely deaths. It gets even smaller. If you take out Rocky Marciano and the late Salvador Sanchez, it's just Undefeated sounds good. It looks sexy. It's sexy when Jimmy Lennon Jr. is saying it. But look, man, there's somebody for everybody. So the undefeated thing may be a little overrated.
Floyd got to protect his investment, says Ignorant Boxing. And you know what you touched on, Marcus, is something I think that we're going to touch on a little bit later with that, because it does fall. There's a reason why undefeated records are so rare. And obviously one of them is, a guy like Floyd was so freaking good in his prime that he was special. But if you look at the history of boxing, certain guys did certain things with other fighters that we don't see very often now currently because of the recent business of boxing. But we'll touch on that a little bit later as we get to more of your guys' comments.
And I realized, I saw a fan in there saying that Marciano did die years after his, quote, retirement from boxing. But in that era, it wasn't uncommon for guys to come out for, quote, bigger fights. No telling what could have happened. That's what I mean. So, yeah, he did retire undefeated, but, there was a lot of life left for him. He was cut down he was young still. So,
all right, we got our first super chat. Thank you so much, Danny. Appreciate that. If you guys want to get your comment read right away or just support the channel, go ahead and leave a super chat. Danny, what's up, man? Is Mayweather's comments regarding Tank being based on knowledge gained from his fighting career that fans won't understand a valid excuse? How do you interpret that, Marcus? Let me read this again. Based on knowledge gained from his fighting career that fans won't understand is a valid excuse.
Look, if he's advising Tank's career, I don't think that he's done a bad job over the last couple of fights with Tank. We can say that these were not big fights, but it's the fight of the weekend. This was one of the best fights of the year. And then you go back off of the fight with Leo Santa Cruz. He's being moved. He's being moved well. And Mayweather definitely is using the knowledge that he already knows. It's just kind of strange at the weight that he's at that he's only going to stick with PBC guys. We'll see how that turns out.
Yeah. We'll do a deeper dive on that. But
the question's a little difficult though.
Yeah. He's basing it on how he moved. I think the second part of his career, but I think sometimes when he advises his guys, he even forgets the guys that he fought to get to the position that he got to in his second part of his career. It's like, bro, you fought everyone. Like, why don't you, tell your guys to fight everybody when they get to a certain point and then be like that. But that goes into the further point that I'm going to get into as we pick some of your guys' comments over here. Let's see here. I say Manny Pacquiao is one of the only true fighters that only fights the best. Not many in the sport do that. Yeah, props to Manny for fighting Errol Spence, man. Jesus. Though you see that lawsuit coming out against Manny?
Yeah, man, Conor McGregor just needs to stop it, man.
It's not Conor. It's that Audi guy. That's Conor's manager.
Yeah, whatever it is, whatever's coming out of this camp, man. Like Manny said, I'm hoping that it doesn't have any bearing on the fight. Get out of the way, man. Nobody wants to see you guys or anything. There's a good fight coming up.
I think they're saying that because he had a contract with that management company, and that management company had a deal practically in place for a Mikey Garcia fight.
Mm-hmm.
That when they were, I guess Manny messed up the contract, signing this Errol Spence fight. But honestly, dude, an Errol Spence fight is a way better fight than a Mikey Garcia fight. Even though a Mikey Garcia fight is a great fight, I think it's a bigger fight, a better fight, and it does better on TV. He's gonna fight the guy that beat Mikey Garcia, and he beat Mikey Garcia easily.
There's no reason at all for Mikey Garcia to be stepping in front of Errol Spence Jr. To be fighting Manny Pacquiao. That would make no sense at all. In fact, Mikey's PR people might need to be looking into that, because if something like that, it's a very outside chance. But if something like that were to happen, he'd lose a lot of fans, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, because we want to see the Spence fight.
Absolutely.
The end of the year, obviously, very unlikely. Tank versus Regis would be exciting. Regis Prograis did a little Instagram video wanting that fight. Regis talked to me about fighting Mikey, so we might see him and Mikey, but him and Tank at 140, I could see them taking that fight because Regis is kind of a smaller 140.
See, the only thing I'm thinking is that in the upward trajectory that it looks like they're trying to have with Tank's career, I'm trying to think what benefit it is to fight Regis Prograis at this point at 140. Regis is without a belt. And it looks like that Mayweather and Leonard Ellerbe and Al Heyman, it looks like they're trying to position themselves to get a transcontinental fight, man, where they look like they're trying to jump into the Josh Taylor sweepstakes. And that would be a huge UK versus USA fight, man. That'd be a great fight with all the bad blood that's been boiling around with Wilder and Fury and the talk that's been shot across the pond the last couple of years at a low weight, man. That'd be a great fight.
I don't think that's going to happen with Taylor. Leonard said that Tank's not campaigning at 140. That was that fight made sense to go to 140, and that he he's probably going to drop back down. But no, I'm with you, bro. I want to see that Josh Taylor fight. And you know what? You're bringing up something that I think kind of I didn't agree with. And you know what? They might be watching this. You know, I get along with Leonard. I have a lot of respect for Leonard, and just want to put that out there that we're allowed to disagree, but disagree respectfully. And I disagree respectfully with what he said in the week. I understand that they're in it for big, attractive fights that make a lot of money, that makes sense. I get it. They're business people, and at the end of the day, the fighters are going into this to make as much money as they possibly can.
Absolutely.
Him being a promoter, I get it. They want to put Tank in fights that'll sell, that'll make a lot of freaking money. Josh Taylor doesn't have a big name here in the United States. I get it. He's not a U.S. fighter, okay? He sells out in the UK. So when he said, like, hey, Josh can't sell out an arena over here in the U.S., they put him in an arena with Jose Ramirez that only sold a couple thousand seats. I was like, whoa, wait a second. One, the UK people couldn't travel over here because of COVID. Those UK people travel.
He barely even had anybody here for him. That would not have been the case had COVID restrictions been lifted. No way.
Yeah,
the stadium would have been packed.
It would have. They could have gone to a bigger stadium. They would have had more guys there. The other thing is, I know Tank fought in the UK years back, but take him over to the UK. See what happens if he's able to sell out the way Josh Taylor's able to sell out. He sold out an arena right now at 16,000, which is amazing, which is great. He's one of the few fighters that is able to do that. I think Canelo, Manny, who else? Tank, or off the top of my head, or some of the Terrence in his hometown, or some of the few guys that could sell out arenas. That's awesome. That's great. Props to him for doing that, because Tank is can't miss TV. Like, honestly, like, regardless of what you guys say about
bigger. And it's just getting bigger.
Regardless of what people say, he doesn't fight the guys he's supposed to. He hasn't fought anybody good. He only fights guys that he's supposed to win at. Dude's exciting. We all want to watch him because he puts on a show, he throws down, and he knocks people out. And that's the most important thing to grab the casual fan base, is when a fighter knocks the F out of the other guy. That's how guys like Golovkin got popular. That's guys like Manny Pacquiao got popular. That's how guys like Mike Tyson got popular. We love guys that knock the crap out of people. We just love it. That's what we want to see in a fight.
Absolutely.
But Leonard said that he felt that Taylor didn't offer anything to Tank. And the first thing that popped to my mind was, what are you talking about? Undisputed is nothing to be offered? Like, what do you mean by that? All the belts at 140? Like, that only makes Tank greater. And honestly, people might think I'm crazy, but I like Tank in that Josh Taylor fight. There's some things that he's given up. No, but there's some advantages that he's given up, obviously. But Josh Taylor gets freaking hit a lot also, And I just sat there and thinking, I'm like, the biggest offering there is undisputed. That's what you want your guy to aspire to. That's what makes him great. That's what punches his ticket into the Hall of Fame. Accomplishments. At the end of the day, I don't know. In terms of like Hall of Fame, when your ballot's in, they don't look at how many tickets you sold. They look at how many titles you won, how many divisions you conquered, what your record was, and who you fought. Not how much
and
money you left.
eclectic your resume is. I mean, when we're talking about the Hall of Fame, man, where we are talking about, and this may surprise some people, but we are talking about Hall of Fame resume. A little bullet point on Tank's resume. Tank is one of only two other guys that has held championships in 3 different weight classes simultaneously.
All right, let's stop there real quick, bro. We gotta
Yair!
say what's up to Yair. Yair, what's up, man? Yair's in Mexico. We hope he's having a good time in Mexico. He's on vacation, been grinding really hard for us. But you know what, Marcus? This was another thing that I kind of struggled with, the whole calling Tank a 3-division world champion. On one end, he's working within the confines of the system. The system allows for all these weird freaking belts. And
because the other guy's working within the confines of the system too.
And he won a title. So technically, yeah, he is a 3-division world champion. Just like when Canelo beat Rocky Fielding, he was considered a 3-division world champion, but I gave him crap for that. A lot of people gave him crap for that. On the other hand, it does kind of irk boxing fans, I think, when they call him a 3-division champ now, because there is an undisputed champ at 140. And we know when there's an undisputed champ, there's only one guy. Absolutely. If you don't beat that one guy, you can't call yourself the champ. So yeah, it's difficult there.
You know, and yes, that's crazy. And there's a lot of titles out there, but you know, the kid does jump into rare air with his victory on Saturday night. I mean, he becomes the 3rd person in boxing history after Canelo Alvarez and the late Henry Armstrong. I mean,
but should there be an asterisk over that title?
Should there be an asterisk over Canelo's title then? I mean, both
Canelo
of them
beat but Canelo beat Callum Smith, who was the #1 ranked on ring and all those.
That, but you just put them in the same group, though, Marcos. You just put them in the same group as far as they played the system a little bit. Listen, let's go here. Barrios was a way harder fight than Callum Smith. Please, you can't even mention Barrios and Callum Smith in the same sentence at all. Those fights where he had to walk through fire versus a young Barrios, where as soon as Callum Smith saw Canelo walk into the ring, he was ready to crawl underneath the rope, it looked like. He did not come to fight. He didn't look like the Callum Smith that the UK fans, and you can see it in their irritation. So, yeah, I will say that if you want to do anything, you got to legitimize Tank's victory, and it's boxing's fault for having so many titles. Let's clean it up, period.
But with you saying that, let's clean it up. Should there be an asterisk there?
No. People can go back in history and look, and they can say, hey, he had the title, and that's what it was. Period.
That's what it was.
Barrios was recognized when Barrios got in and they announced him. Barrios had the belt. Period.
He's working within the confines of the system, but
period.
Obviously, the system's broken, man. Because in other sports,
it's been broken.
It wouldn't work like that. Which gets us to what Floyd said, and the title of this. Floyd saying that, hey, Tank Davis is just going to fight in-house PBC fighters. Why am I going to go ahead and make other fighters, other organizations great off the name of Tank Davis when we could all keep it in-house? Bad take, in my opinion. And look, I respect Floyd, but I think it's a bad take, and I'll tell you why. Not because because overall, we're finally getting to a point. Look how many undisputed champions we're about to get or potentially could get this year. I don't think there's ever been a time where we've had a chance to get so many undisputed champions in one division. This is freaking great for the sport because there's no confusion. We know exactly who the champion is.
Right.
Casual fans could come in and be like, this guy's #1. This guy's the champ. It's great for the sport. So when Floyd said, why are we going to make other people great, like at the name of Tank? And when I heard that, I was like, this is your guys' chance to make Tank great, because Tank can beat a lot of those guys, and it makes Tank's name a lot bigger. It makes Tank's name out in the media more, and it makes Tank's resume that much greater. And I think that's the main reason why a lot of fans get fed up with boxing, is they hear stuff like that. No, we're not going to have him fight the guys that you want to see him fight. We're going to have him fight the guys that we want him to fight. And it's like, bro, we want to see him fight Ryan. We want to see him fight Devin. We want to see him fight Teo. We want to see him fight all these other guys. Those are the fights we want. Barrios was a game fighter, man. Great fight, showed great heart. But those guys that I listed are the ones we want to see him fight. We want to see him fight Lomachenko, who looked freaking phenomenal over the weekend. We'll touch on that. But yeah, man, it's just like, this is why people get angry about boxing, you know?
I think that, definitely is a frustrating comment, but it's a comment. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's a comment. It's a comment that he made after the fight. I'm sure that if the money looked right, they decide to look wherever the money was. We'll have to wait and see exactly what they do, right? Honestly, we'll just have to wait and see what they do. When you start limiting your opponent pool, I know that it frustrates the fans. It's frustrating me also, but I'm not going to really move on it until we see what happens. Period.
Well, he's already saying what's gonna happen. It's only gonna be PBC guys. Like I get it, and I know I get it, because some of you guys said in the chat earlier, "Well, Marcos, why aren't you bringing up the Top Rank thing?"
I'm saying that. I mean,
Top Rank did it. Hold on, Marcus. Hold on. Top Rank did it, and we gave them ish about it. They did it with Manny. They did it with Bradley. They did it with a bunch of other fighters, and they got ish for it. They got crap for it. All right, so why would it not be different when it's on that side doing the same thing? Doesn't matter what side it's done on. That's not how sports should be done, especially boxing. Like, if you're doing it for the good of the sport, you need to have these guys fight the guys we want them to see, because it clears up a lot of confusion. And this issue has been going on for too long in boxing. This is why people go and watch the UFC, because the UFC has a clear number one. And the UFC has number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. Every other sport, 1 versus 2. Every other sport except boxing. And that's just contributing to the problem. We have a genuine opportunity to start kind of clearing up some of the muddled waters finally with these undisputed fights. And that's not what we as fans want to hear from one of the most exciting fighters in boxing right now.
When we look at it that way, but you got to think of it from their standpoint also. I mean, each faction is trying to take over their own sect of boxing and control the belts. I mean, this is a game of risk, if you will.
But what you said, control the belts, like that's the other thing, is just fight the best. If you're that confident in your guy, have him fight the best. You're gonna get all the belts.
And there's no way. You can't force a promoter that doesn't want one guy to fight the next guy for the things to happen. I mean, these are problems that are plaguing boxing. But to be truthful, I mean, how do you get around it? There's no other way to get around it.
The way to get around it, though, the way to get around it is the promoters have to stop with that thinking and make the fights that people want to see. Make these fights. That's the way to get around it. Like the whole thinking of got to protect the O, got to make as much money as we can fighting guys that we don't want them to see. Like, that has to stop, because like look what's happened with boxing in the last 20-25 years. Right. You hear people all the time, boxing used to be good, the best used to fight the best, and they start saying why the era of Leonard and Ali and all those decades prior were so great. Why were they so great, Marcus?
Because everybody fought everybody.
But everybody fought everybody.
But here's the thing. I think, see, again, man, we're complaining as boxing fans, but you look at other divisions. 122, the guys are mixing it up. 154, the guys are mixing it up. Things are starting to change, but in the big money divisions, there still are ruled by the promoters, man. But I think that the tide may be changing. We just got to wait and see.
I don't know. When I hear stuff like that from one of the most biggest and influential figures in boxing, like I just don't, I just like, okay, we're back to this again. It's like,
it's
great,
rough, man. It's rough.
Yeah, great.
It's rough. But I'm still gonna watch, man. I'm still gonna watch top ranked fights, and I'm still gonna watch PBC fights. I'm still gonna watch boxing, period. So I mean, I'm hoping for the best, but hey, I'm paying for what's there, being honest.
I'm just a fan, says Mr. Panch. That's a weird freaking name. Like, I'm gonna get flagged for saying that. I just want the best fights available. Yeah, we all want the best fights. We want to see the best fight, the freaking best. Like that UFC is the best. UFC, the best fights, the best. MMA has taken a lot of eyeballs away from boxing. That's true, bro. That's true.
Okay.
It sucks because I think we have a richer sport, a more
boxing
history-laden sport. Yeah.
Boxing, and it does. All those things that you say are still relevant to boxing. We're just talking about what event is watched on television, man. That's it. Like this is, UFC is a young league. Boxing is so much more advanced and I mean, yeah, UFC is a good model. If you like UFC, watch UFC. But what you really want to see is the two best fighters, boxers, standing toe to toe. That's what
we want to see them fight each other.
Heart.
That's what we want.
And they're fighting each other. That's what's really in your heart. That's what's always been driving boxing. That's what's going to drive boxing. We'll get big fights. We may not get them all, but we'll get them.
Juan says things aren't changing, Hayes. That's the only reason UFC got bigger than boxing, because of what boxing wasn't doing, and it'll continue that way.
No, man. UFC offers a different plate for fans to pick off of. Some guys and gals like jiu-jitsu and elbows and Muay Thai, and they want to see these things combined. Not everybody is just a pure boxing fan. UFC offers something different. It's a different sport with punching, but it's a different sport.
But you know what? I have heard from people that are MMA fans, and you'll be surprised how many of them were boxing fans. And from my years of covering the UFC, there's a lot of former boxing people in that sport, and they all have gravitated towards that sport because of the best consistently fighting.
Okay, so but out of that group of people, how many of them don't watch at all? None of them. They all watch. They all watch 1 or 2 fights a year, 3 or 4. They may have fallen back into from the hardcore to the more casual realm, but these folks are still watching boxing. We're making it sound like people are just jettisoning boxing and just watching UFC. It's not true.
But we need those guys back, not as casual, but watching all boxing all the time, though.
Things are picking up, man.
I think the only way we get that, man, is we got to consistently push for, like, hey, man, like, we want the best fighting the best all the time. Like, we want, these fights that we're calling for, not this guy against the number 10, this guy against the number 8. What rep it? Ryan should follow Tank blueprint until age 26. Hasn't Ryan said that he wants to retire by age 26? I heard something like that, right?
Yeah, he said something like that. He wanted to retire, and it was one of those young 20s, 26, somewhere 26, 28, somewhere around that area.
Tank is the real deal, like Oscar said he is. And man, so with this Barrios fight, a few things. One, damn, that power carried over, right?
Yeah.
Dude, like I said, people have told me that Tank spars consistent with bigger guys, and he messes them up. And I think that showed that this power is not normal power. Like Tank's power is special power. The other thing, dang, Tank was down in the fight up until those 2 knockdowns.
You know what, man? Absolutely. From what it looked like, he was down. in the fight, man.
I
But the
had him down
scorecards,
on my scorecard. I
no,
had him down.
no, absolutely. And I'm not saying that I didn't have him down. I mean, watching the fight with friends and family, man, we had him down at one point, looked like 5-1. But when I looked at the scorecards, Marcos, when the official scorecards came out, bro, you had 97-91 for Davis, right? And then a pair of 96 to 92s for Davis. So he was on his way to winning a unanimous decision.
Well, yeah, because of the knockdowns.
But you look at the 97-91, I thought that was a little wild. The 97-91 was, so that meant that they gave him some of the earlier rounds, man. And when we look back at it, in the first 4 rounds, he only landed 11 punches, bro. That's like, how does he win any of the first 4 rounds with landing 11 punches?
I don't know. Got some of those Chavez Jr. refs or judges over there in Atlanta.
Man, but it's a trip. It's a trip because, after the first 4 rounds and only landing 11 punches, bro, in the next 6.5 rounds, he lands 85 punches and scores 3 knockdowns to ultimately bust the fight open and end it. It's amazing.
Yeah, that power is the truth, man. But I think it did show that Tank is vulnerable at the higher weight classes, because he did get touched a lot by Barrios, and I don't consider Barrios a crazy knockout puncher. He's not a knockout puncher. He has decent power for the weight, but I think with the bigger elite guys, there can be some trouble there. I'm not saying Tank wouldn't beat those guys, but I think that's what makes it so interesting. And I would love to see, because how Tank would be able to adjust and do something like he did against Barrios, because he had to pull something out big, and he did.
Absolutely.
When Floyd told him in the corner, like, "Hey, bro, you're losing. Like you're down unofficially," and Tank turned it up, and I think that's what would be with fights at 140, because they said that they don't want him campaigning at 140, but I think that's what would make the fights even more attractive is knowing that, hey, Tank is a little vulnerable. He's giving up some advantages by moving up in weight because he's smaller, shorter reach. And I think that's why fights at 140 would be so much more interesting because of that.
Yeah, man. I mean, it is kind of hard for me to think of him staying at 140. I mean, you look at all these big guys that are campaigning at 40. You just look at him versus Barrios, man. That was a huge. Mario Barrios was much bigger than him in pretty much every way, but stout wise, right? It shows, man, the guys got a lot of heart, man. Both guys had a lot of heart, but I like to get to this chat down here, man, from Float Logic, and it says the UFC is a promotional company with a current monopoly on its sport. We didn't get to see Fedor Emelianenko fight in the UFC's heavyweights because he couldn't.
Man,
right?
That's a shame, bro, because I loved Fedor, and you know what? This actually touches a nerve with me, because there's so much revision.
He has fights that didn't happen too, bro. They do. That didn't happen.
some fights, but for the most part, they made the fights that were supposed to be made, with the exception of Fedor.
And Anderson Silva versus
George St. Pierre.
GSP, absolutely.
And George St. Pierre, well, he was already past his prime, but and Khabib made the decision to go ahead and retire. But because there's so much revisionist history with Fedor, just dismissing his accomplishments and what he's done by these freaking newbie fans, saying that, oh, DC is the greatest heavyweight champion. Oh, Stipe is the greatest heavyweight champion. Right. Get the F out of here with that stuff, man. If you really followed MMA from the early days, you know that Fedor was undefeated up until he fought Werdum, fighting the best heavyweights consistently. And no other heavyweight in MMA history had such a dominant run against the top heavyweights for such a long time as Fedor did. The UFC's heavyweight division was garbage when Fedor was in Pride. The champion was Tim freaking Sylvia. Tim Sylvia. That tells you, the depth of what they had back then, but that, UFC doesn't like co-promoting. They've only done it once, and that was with Floyd and McGregor because there was so much money at
And
stake.
they brought Pride back to make UFC and Chuck too.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah,
remember that.
yeah,
They
yeah.
did.
They did. They took Chuck over there thinking that it would pay off for them, and then Chuck got his ass kicked by who was it?
Yeah,
Uh,
buddy.
it was Rampage, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was
Yeah, yeah,
Rampage.
yeah, Rampage because he beat
Absolutely.
Overeem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
got
yeah.
murked.
Yeah, Overeem did get murked, but Overeem was
Yeah.
can't take punches. I don't want to say he can't take punches, but he's vulnerable. He's vulnerable. What's up, John? What's going on? Tank had to take a risk to get closer to the largest fighter. That's why I feel he got more. Yeah, bro. The reach. Mario had a huge reach advantage over him.
Absolutely, man. And I mean, you look at Mario Barrios, their punch stats were strikingly similar, man. They were really close. And if you go back to their punch, the total punches, man, you got Tank Davis was 96 for 296, right? At a rate of 32%, and Barrios was 93 for 394. He threw almost 100 more punches than Tank did, man, but landed less. I mean, you're right. He did get close, and he made Barrio miss a lot in the back half of the fight, and that was ultimately the difference in the bout. Man, was his moving forward and his defense. Man, hats off to him. It was a great performance.
Well,
No
yeah,
question.
yeah. That was the only way to nullify that reach was he had to walk in with a high guard and again knowing like, hey, I'm gonna have to take some of these
Barrios
punches.
and look, Barrios fired everything. Barrio fired everything to keep him off of him. I mean, he fired up everything to keep him off. He just couldn't. And when he started landing those sneaky body shots, he landed several body shots throughout the fight. I think, it was a smart game plan, man. But he did have to change his game plan.
Yeah, he did, and that that was a big thing that when looking at this fight. And I'm sure, if you're part of Tank's team, knowing like, okay, Barrios has a longer reach. He's going to try to keep you at the end of his punches, going to try to keep distance. We got to cut that distance off. We got to be able to work him on the inside and land not just whatever punches, but land punches that count, that are going to hurt him and put him in a position that gives you better opportunities to land the punches that you need to land. The Fight Game. Thank you for the pounds there. Great listening, Marcos. Keep up the great work. Appreciate it. You guys, this is the first time tuning into us. We normally do this on Mondays at 5:35, but because of the European Championships and me finally getting some time off, yesterday didn't work too well because yesterday was a crazy freaking game or games. For the European Championships. Today was a crazy. Have you been? Do you watch soccer at all, Marcus?
Unfortunately, not really, mate.
Bro, you've been missing out on what's been a crazy freaking tournament for the UEFA Euros. Ralph in the house. What's up, Ralph? What's going on, Carnal? Just crazy goal-scoring games. England beat Germany today, 2-0. Ukraine against Sweden, which was nuts. Ukraine equalizing in the last minute of the game when I believe it was 1-1. Yesterday we had 14 goals in the games. Like, this tournament has been freaking nuts. It's funny. I took off the last World Cup. I disappeared for 3 weeks. Like, promoters were calling me like, "Hey, please come to our event," and da da da. I was like, "Nah, like kick rocks." I'm like, I'm watching this. Like, when it comes to international soccer for like the tournaments, the important tournaments, I disappear, bro. I disappear.
Wow.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, you know what, man? When I was in Germany, I remember the World Cup I was out in Germany when they won it, and I remember
That was
that was like
Germany won
that was
2014.
2000 and no,
2014.
before. Okay, so before that,
That was
before
the 2006 World Cup where they
it was-
placed third place.
so I remember what that was like, watching their national pride or whatever. To be honest, man, I mean, it's just never been my thing, bro. I play FIFA, you know what I'm saying? But I play some FIFA, mate. But that's pretty much it, dog.
For you guys that are here internationally, is it coming home? England looks like they have a great chance to make it to the finals. But I think that Denmark is the dark horse of that bracket. Been watching them play in the group stages, and they've been playing really, really well. This Friday and Saturday are the round of 8 games. You got Italy going up against, I believe, Switzerland. And then I don't know. I got to see the bracket. But bro, you tune in for the games, dude. Like they've been crazy
When do
freaking
the games
exciting.
come on? Do the games come on like during work?
Yeah, they do. They
Yeah,
do.
nah,
Today's game was at 9 a.m. and the other one was
yeah,
at
nah.
noon.
I got stuff to do. You can text me. Look, text me the highlights, broski, so I can catch up, homie. But
Well,
that's
there's
pretty
the
much
Saturday. Saturday, there's 2 games, 9 a.m. and 12 a.m. 12 p.m. England versus Ukraine. That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a really good one. Italy
yeah,
versus
9
Belgium
a.m.
Friday. There we go.
9 a.m. on Saturday is pool time. We'll be at the pool. You can text me.
You know, it's crazy that you mentioned that. I know some of you guys are like, go back to boxing, go back to boxing. We will. But it's crazy that you mentioned the 2006 World Cup because I saw a documentary that interviewed a lot of Germans, a lot of old Germans that were alive during the Nazi regime and then after. And they had said that because of World War II, they lost a lot of their national pride because they were ashamed of what happened.
Wow.
And they said that they that kind of carried over to their kids and their grandkids, not really showing national hype, and then especially with the split of East and West Germany, with one side being communist and the other being pro-Western, that there wasn't a lot of national pride because of the history of Germany. And when it came to that World Cup, they had mentioned that really mended the divide, because even then they were saying that there was still a lot of looking down on people that were from East Germany, and not a lot of inclusion from the East Germans. And they said that the 2006 World Cup really brought that country together, where it was the first time they saw people waving German flags and being united for the first time since they could really remember. So it's crazy that you got to see that, because I think that documentary highlighted what you were talking about, because that they had mentioned that was the first time that was actually people were out and about in the streets, like with German flags, and really going ahead and parading that.
Yeah, man. I mean, they're they made some serious miscalculations that led to them having to rebuild their country. It just goes to show, man, when you let a bad leader step in front of good people that know better, man, you could lose everything. So I think that, and having lots of friends, man, having lived in Germany and Mannheim for some years, man. You learn that these people they do carry some sort of burden. The young guys that are my age. I have quite a bit of friends, man. I play for a football team in Germany, a tackle football team in Germany, actually, called the Weinheim Longhorns. You guys should look it up. It's an American football league. It's some good ball going on over there, man. They're not very good, you know what I'm saying? But it was a good chance to get close to a lot of German guys, man, and, learn about what they were dealing with. But, I'm American, man. So, they were on the other side of that battle for sure.
Brother, the one thing though that I'll give it to them, all the football fans in general, because I like to label it as football, is that their fans freaking dwarf anything that we have as American fans for any sports, dude. Because when you were over there in Germany, did you have a chance to go to any pro football games?
No.
No, man, you
Was
missed
not
out then,
interested.
man.
Even being that close, man. I mean, I got a chance to go to like Hockenheim and go to the races. You know what I'm saying? That was cool. I got a chance to go to Oktoberfest before they banned
Oh
us from Munich.
man,
You know what I mean? But as
I'm
far as
jealous, bro. I've always
yeah,
wanted to go to Oktoberfest over there.
but as far as like soccer, bro, it just was never. I've just never been interested, man. No disrespect to soccer. I know that folks are like, it's the oldest sport in the world. It is, but I'm not interested. Sorry.
Bro. I think it's my mission to at least introduce you to some of it, because, bro, honestly, like soccer's like,
Bro, I can beat you in FIFA though, homie. So
no, I don't even play, dude.
I can beat you in
I
FIFA, homie.
I swore off, video games the March of last year at the beginning of the pandemic. I
Why?
swore them off because they're a
Why?
big waste of time, bro.
Oh. Oh
dude. You don't grow from it. Like you could spend 3 years playing the same video game, and what have you gotten out from playing that same video game? Like
man,
what skills?
you could say the same thing about having a bad girlfriend. You could spend 3 years.
Hey, but at least you're
You
getting
could
some
spend
ass from
3 years.
her.
No, but still, hey, what it say? All ass ain't good ass. Like, look, man, be
No,
real
ass
about
is
it.
ass, bro.
No, it's not. No, it ain't.
No, it's
Hey, go
not.
to child support. Go to the child support office, or go to the family court services area at 9 o'clock at any courthouse, bro, and go look at what a piece of ass will get you, buddy.
Hey,
Ah,
hey, hey.
I'm telling you, your pockets be looking like rabbit ears, homie.
Nah. It's they weren't smart about it. No glove, no love, bro. No glove, no
Oh,
love, and you avoid that problem completely. Come
nah,
on, dog.
man,
Come
nah.
on.
That's a
Nah.
whole. That's a whole nother. Right? We could go back on that all day. But yeah, youngsters, hey, stay away, man. Just wait to play. Stay away. Do your
Wait
homework.
to play? No, just wrap it up. Be smart about it.
No, man, abstinence, homie. You be all right. You
Come
got to
on, dog.
turn 20,
Why are
30,
you giving them bad
40.
advice? Why are you giving the
No, that's
youngsters
good
bad
advice.
advice?
Hey, that's strong advice. Abstinence, homie. Do life, do homework, go to football practice, go to wrestling. Don't miss hanging out with your boys in the 12th grade. Don't do it. Stay away.
Nah,
You be all right.
nah. All I'm saying is this, youngsters. You could do all that, but be smart about it, just like with anything in life. That's the smartest thing. You wrap it up, you're good to go. There you go. Art's a savage. Look at this guy. Look at Art.
Oh, come on, mate.
Art.
Disgusting.
Yeah. All right. We're going back to boxing. Back to
There we go.
boxing.
Let's go back to the boxing.
Oh, wait. NJP saying abstinence is sacred. All right. Hey, Lomachenko looked great over the weekend. I think he needed to have that performance to get him back in the conversation. He just completely washed, dominated, and stopped a very solid, tough, and bigger opponent in Masayoshi Nakatani. I think he stopped him like in the 8th round, and man, he did something that Teo couldn't do, that all these other guys couldn't do. And I was surprised after the fight. Teofimo Lopez Sr. was giving Lomachenko props, and I was like, "Damn, all right." That for him to give him props, I was like, "All right, he must have done something," Because
I think that like I saw the video where he was like, when they stopped it and they cut to him and he was like, "That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted." He's got a lot of gamesmanship, man. I know that. If they get past Kambosos, they gotta go. They gotta give Loma his get back, man. I think he earned it, man, with the way that he dwarfed Nakatani, and it wasn't like he took advantage of. It wasn't like he took. Look at Yair coming back. It wasn't. Hold
on. This is a sore spot for Marcus here.
It's not a sore spot, homie. It's not a sore spot. Yair, look.
He bet everything. He bet his pride on Chavez Jr. beating Anderson.
Hey, man, I can't bet my pride. It's inside, fella. I can't bet my pride. It's inside, my guy. So we didn't bet that. But Yair, what did end up happening, man, is you was doing all that. Put Yair's comment back up there, dog.
All right. Hold on. I'll go ahead. Let me find Yair's. There we go.
Man, Yair was talking all that smack the other day, homie. I got a weird DM from somebody saying that they was Chavez Jr.'s people and they wanted to know how much Yair weighed. So, Yair, they might be an avenue for you to get paid, Playboy, with you, Yair, and Chavez Jr., man. It might be Fight Hub versus Chavez Jr. What's happening? I think that might really happen, broski. I got to send this to you, man.
And then the guy that beat Chavez Jr. in the last, I think like 2-3 fights ago, got knocked out on Sunday by David Morrell, who I don't know how he's a world champion already. But damn, that was impressive.
He's on that Lomachenko program. What do you mean? He on that. I had a whole bunch of amateur fights, and now my pro career was going to be sped up. That looks like a new thing that they're trying to do in boxing.
Well, that's the thing. I had never heard of this guy, even in the amateurs. It wasn't like he was a gold medalist, Morel. I don't know how accomplished he was in the Cuban amateur system, but that I think he showed that he's in the freaking mix. Like regardless, like the WBA, they have the regular champion, the super champion, and we all know Canelo and Caleb Plant are the real champions in the division. And some would say that David Benavidez is the uncrowned still world champion.
Say, man.
But Morel, even with that title, Morel showed like Morel can compete with all those guys. I think from what he showed in these fights, man. Like he's shown that, dude, like this guy got the goods. He's someone to keep an eye on.
There's a short body of work from him. We do know that. Super short body of work from him. But you know what? Yeah, he does look to be tough, man. But a 168, my goodness gracious, that's a hard division. And we hope that 168 catches fire like the other divisions have. If Canelo is what's going to happen here.
Dude, I heard they haven't even given an offer to Canelo yet. I mean, I heard that Canelo hasn't even given an offer to Caleb Plant yet.
Well, he's been on the boat dancing and stuff, man. So,
well, he just got married, to Miss
just
Fernanda.
got married. I don't know who
Good job for Canelo. Good job for Canelo, man. He married a dime piece. Good for him. I'd be dancing on a boat too, like that.
Is that all it takes? Just marry a quick dime piece and you good to go?
Bro, she's a dime piece.
Because that's what you're gonna be. Ask Mike Tyson about marrying a dime piece, homie. He had a dime piece left almost.
Yeah, but he wasn't all there during that time.
It's true, man. They scare me though a little bit, doggy.
They scare you.
Just a little bit.
It's because you go for the crazy ones, I bet, huh, Marcus?
Man, look, maybe because I'm crazy. I don't know. But
hey, crazy attracts crazy, bro. So then there you go. You got a little crazy in you.
That's why you preach abstinence and you good to go, homie.
Oh, man. Beto HDZ, what's up, man? Thank you for the super chat. Everybody, go ahead and give us a round of likes, please. If this is the first time you are tuning into us, we do this every Monday at 5:35. This is the Fight Hub TV live chat. I am Marcos Villegas. He is Marcus Hayes. Follow us on Instagram at Hey, it's Marcos V, at Peacekeeper Boxing, and at Fight Hub TV. Subscribe as well to the channel. How does the Inoue versus Nonito rematch play out? Let's be real. Marcus, before I get to you, okay. I didn't see Inoue's last fight because that was the same night as I was working the Chavez Jr. fight. So I'm going to defer to you on this. You saw how Inoue looked in that last fight. So how break it down. How does it play out?
You know what, man? A tale of two fights, right? The first fight, Inoue was taking control at certain points when he was actually starting off with body work. I think that he showed that, hey, you know what? Maybe he's worked his body arsenal real good. If he works Donaire's body well, he might be on his way to getting another victory, man. But I think the key to beating Donaire this time around is going to be to the body, because if he trades with that eye socket, if he stands there and trades and gives up those, if he's hooking with the hooker and throwing the right with him, or throwing the straights with him, he can end up getting caught. But I tell you what, man, he definitely in a way has to do body work, and Donaire just has to get in and mix it up. He scored very well when he got in and mixed it up. And I was cold about the tissues and the lotion. Nice, broski, good, nice. Tissues and lotion, my guy. That's how you feel about your boy. Okay.
How did the eye look with Inoue?
You know what, man? I mean, they didn't show it a whole bunch, but I mean, for the most part, it looked like it was all right. You know, I mean, it looked like it was okay, but is it really ever okay when he didn't get tapped in it? The dude didn't really land anything of any consequence. So I think the eye is still a question mark, man. It's not over the hump yet, especially when you're talking about going in potentially fighting Donaire or the winner of that fight, man. That's a serious one.
Was he overly protecting the eye, or it's just it was him offensive?
Dude, he absolutely looked like he was wide open. He looked like he wasn't hesitant on any punches. He was calculated. He chose his shots. He picked high value shots. I mean, he looked like he wasn't thinking about the eye, but again, he barely got hit. He barely even got touched. So how do you know how he was
Yeah,
doing?
that's what Miguel is saying, that
He barely got touched.
he barely got hit. Okay, that'd be interesting, man. The thing with Nonito, tried and true, his hook, man. His hook has bailed him out on many occasions, and he's shown that he's still a danger with that hook, man. Given what he did to a Bali.
Seriously, I mean,
Damn
he
that.
definitely is dangerous. I'm sorry, bro. Got a little sweat here, homie.
It's because
I
everybody's
don't have my
giving
AC
you the
on.
heat with those
No,
those
I don't
comments
have my
on.
AC. I don't have my AC on, but yeah, they did back me up with the lotion comments. Can you tell? No. But I mean, honestly, man, you look at that's an open fight. I think that it just kind of matters that who comes to with a changed game plan, and I definitely don't think that Inoue is going to come with the same game plan at all.
No,
At all.
no. Yeah, the usually in rematches they play out completely different than the first fight.
Right. And I think that this will be no different.
It'd be interesting to see though, because Inoue is a guy that comes forward and throws punches. He has to throw punches because of the power that he has, and he knows the more he touches you, the more he's going to be able to break down his opponent. So I think that leaves a lot of chances for Nonito to touch him with counter punches again.
Absolutely. And I think that if Nonito is able to touch you with counter punches, I mean, man, yeah, there's going to be a price to pay for going to the body. But still, he has to go to the body. He can't fight the way that he did before. I think that he
No,
surrendered.
you're referring to
trading.
You're referring to Inoue, right? Inoue going to the body.
Inoue has to go to Donaire's body. It's the only way that he's going to be able to markedly make a different fight versus Donaire. We know what Donaire's coming to do.
It's gonna what? Try to land him, try to outbox him. What is he gonna do?
Donaire's gonna try to trade. Donaire's gonna try to get in and have round 13.
You think so?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that Donaire is gonna come straight out and say, "Hey, let's do it again. Let's do it again." I thought that toward the end of the fight, what slowed him down was the body work. What slowed him down was the body work. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because you would think that Nonito wouldn't want to trade with someone like an Inoue given his punching power.
And I understand that, but when he was successful when they were trading.
Yeah, because he's peppering him with counters.
Yeah, because you got to bring ass to whoop ass, man. That's what it is, right? I mean, straight up, that's what it is. You got to bring ass to whoop ass. You can't just stand off to the side. He's not markedly larger than Donaire is or anything like that. We're talking about guys of the same size. You're gonna have to trade.
Hopefully that happens. I know Nonito and Casemiro have been going back and forth. I haven't been catching up with all that. Some sort of drama is happening with, I don't even know if the fight's on or off,
you know what, man? It's hard to kind of keep up with it, but and you say what, that they're going back and forth, him and Casemiro are going back and forth. Look, man, I think that's going to be a great fight, man.
Heck, that is.
Anytime that you get Nonito Donaire fired up, bro, there's going to be hell to pay. But Casemiro likes to trade. He likes to trade, and I think that definitely the winner of that bout is going to need to take a break. Seriously.
I think Nonito, style-wise, is a lot more better positioned to win that fight against Casemiro than Casemiro is. Casemiro throws very wide, I think overly aggressive, has a lot of defensive lapses, and I would bet money on Nonito to win that fight and win by knockout.
Believable. It's going to be fun while it lasts.
Yeah. Don't be surprised if Donaire loses, says Hurricane Hank.
Hey, nobody is unbeatable. Somebody said that in the chat earlier, man. And then somebody doubled back and says, Matt Gomez says Nonito is 37 years old. Not gonna read the rest of that because it's not relevant to my conversation. But yes, he is 37 years old, And you know what? Hey, Father Time catches up with everybody, and it looked like a couple fights ago that he had hawked Nonito down, and somehow Nonito wiggled out of the group, wiggled out of the grass, man, and put together some real good fights. Is Father Time going to be sitting at ringside? It's going to be funny to see.
He said that he felt that Casemiro is going to win. Hank, I'm kind of curious as to why you think that that Casemiro win. I think if Casemiro outworks Nonito, I could see a path to victory there, where he's the more active guy throwing. But the thing is, Nonito naturally as him is a counter puncher. If you look at Nonito's earlier fights, it's a counter puncher. Nonito is a counter puncher.
Absolutely.
And the guy coming forward works for Nonito, because Nonito's going to sit with a high guard and just pick the right shot.
But
Casemiro going to get slept, says Miguel.
But when you get older, you know, the thing that you use for countering is reflexes. So, and we know that reflexes are something that goes when you get older, man. I mean, he looks like he's had to rely less on reflexes and more on timing as of late.
And always after the big fights, he deserves respect from all boxing fans. Hey, I got to know his number 2, pound for pound. Like, the stuff that this guy does is amazing, man. Like they need
it's
to
hard for me to put these dudes there because of just how small they are.
They need to give him Rosetta Stone so he could learn English, because the moment that kid learns English, his popularity is going to go like tenfold. But he has everything that you want from a boxer. Puts on exciting fights and knocks the crap out of people. Knocks the crap out of people.
Absolutely. Sharp is a very decisive and devastating puncher. His offense is good. He's got just a splat. He's got enough vulnerability to make you want to watch him. He's a really, really exciting guy to watch. And moreover, man, the level of bravery that he shows is admirable, bro. Definitely.
I think he's already 3 division world champion, I believe, right?
I think he is at is he at, so he's at what, 18? Did he start lower than 18?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up his box rec.
I don't know how many divisions. I thought it was 2.
Naoya Inoue. Junior bantamweight. Wait, light flyweight. Hold on a second. Let's see here. I'll get 3-weight. Yeah, 3-weight world champion.
Look at these.
Bantamweight, junior bantamweight, and light flyweight.
He said Inoue versus Brandon Figueroa.
Brandon's a little big for him, right? But Brandon's a weight class.
Brandon's at 22.
Right?
Yeah, Brandon's at 22.
Inoue right now is at 118.
Yeah, I mean, you jump Inoue into 22. Period. That would be interesting, bro.
He's small. He's 5'5".
Put him in with, man, and 122 is absolutely no joke, bro.
Yeah.
That is a serious division.
Fulton, if you love boxing, Figueroa and Neri, and who else?
Figueroa, Leo. I mean, you've got some serious guys there, man. What's my boy from Muskegon, Michigan?
Alim,
Rais Alim.
Yeah.
You've got Victor Pasillas. I know he's coming off of a loss. I mean, you've got guys. You got a lot of talent at 122, bro.
A lot, yeah. I don't know, man. Neri was small for Brandon, and I felt that was the big reason why he lost that fight. One, that, and two, his conditioning. He looked like he gassed out in the fight.
Right.
But that would be a concern I think I would have for that team if he were to move up to 122, because these guys are a lot freaking bigger than
a lot. They're really big guys, but that's what would be exciting about it. Why not? Throw him in there.
Said, Inoue would beat Brandon Figueroa. Brandon Figueroa does get hit a lot, and you don't want to get hit by a guy like Inoue.
Definitely, he does get hit, man. But I mean, does Inoue have enough pop to carry? That would be interesting. All the way up as far as he could go, man. That'd be interesting to see how hard he can punch.
Well, it's carried up really well up to this point, but yeah, 122. Those guys are cutting from maybe even 145.
Yeah, I could believe it, bro.
Yeah, I mean, maybe even 150.
They're sucking down, bro. So yeah, they're cutting some serious weight.
All right, you guys. I think that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up. This is a great live chat. Thank you so much for participating with us and being a part with us. Let's get one last round of likes, everybody. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and follow us on social media at Fight Up TV. Follow me as well at Hey It's Marcos V, and this is Marcus Hayes. Follow him at Peacekeeper Boxing. This coming Saturday, there's a fight on Showtime. I wanted to say Colbert because of Stephen Colbert. That's Colbert.
Yes.
Versus who's he? He's not fighting Gamboa still, is he?
No, Gamboa is out from.
King Tug. King Tug is fighting him.
Right. Interesting fight, man. Step up fight for the youngster. We'll see what Chris can do.
Well,
what color is his hair going to be?
Chris Colbert, I think, is the one guy that I think will be on people's pound for pounds list 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Like I see that much talent in that kid. Or when I look at him and just immediately, like the eye test says, like this guy's pound for pound. This guy's going to be pound for pound. He's that freaking good. So talented. This guy's freaking good. So that should be a good fight. King Tug, his last fight he lost. Who did he lose to?
I don't know, actually.
It wasn't the Gary Russell fight, was it?
That it very well could have been. Let's check that real quick. I feel like
no, he
moved up already. Right?
Breedy, he beat the Koba Breedy, the guy from I think he's from Barbados. And then he's fighting Chris Colbert. That last fight that he had was in September against Kobe Breedy. But before that, in February of last year, he did fight Gary Russell Jr. and lost a unanimous decision. King Tug is a Olympian amateur, great amateur fighter. So that'll be good, a good little fight to see. I just worry about the amount of time that Tug had to prepare for Colbert. Even though Colbert's in the same position, he didn't have much time to prepare for King Tug, but he had a training camp. And we don't know if Tug had a training camp or if he's just, coming in this fight like, yeah, okay, I'll take it.
Here's my thing about the 126 guys, right? And I'm going to be honest with you. At 126, I'm always interested to see what superstar on 126 is just going to use 126 as like a runway to take off into a new division, because nobody seems to want to step to Gary Russell Jr. He's sitting there with the
that's not true. Devin Haney wanted to fight with them, and that didn't happen.
At 20, but he's a champ at 26. What I'm saying is at 26. A guy that's campaigning at 26, I'm interested to see who's going to be the one that steps up and says, hey, you know what? I'm going to challenge you for your belt. I'm excited. I'm excited about it, man. I want to see which one of you guys is going to come up and say, hey, you know what? Like Hurricane Hank says, Russell's all talk and his words, and go take it away from him. He's reigning for a reason, Hank. He got the belt for a reason.
Well, we have Navarrete as the WBO champ. The IBF is vacant. Gary Russell has the WBC.
Right. I would
Check
love to
this out, bro.
Together.
The WBA has 3 freaking champions at featherweight. What a surprise!
Insane, bro.
Leo Santa Cruz, Zucan, and Eduardo Ramirez. Oh, jeez. Good old WBA.
Oh, Susu said that Jojo Diaz beat Russell. Big robbery. Say it ain't so. Don't.
You know what?
No.
Jojo did well in the early part of the fight, but I think the speed of Gary really.
Man, is you sniffing that Shinola? No. Of course he did not beat Gary Russell Jr.
Yeah.
He even admitted it afterward. But it shouts out to Jojo for stepping up and taking that challenge, man, because that was where he gave his O up.
Yep, that's very true. All right, Marcus, we got to wrap it up. Thank you so much. Everybody tune in next Monday at 5:35 p.m. Pacific time. The Fight Up TV live chat happening every Monday at 5:35 Pacific time. One last round of likes. Subscribe if this is the first time you are watching the channel. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your Tuesday. Peace out, guys. Thank you so much.
Right,